Hello, YouTube and other fellow stackers. Today, while I was sitting at work, doing little to nothing, as I try to do every day, I started pondering the idea of how I can better invest in my future and what would it look like if I did invest in my future. In precious metals, to name the future I was thinking about. And I started thinking about liquid cash and what I have on hand and my 401k and all that type of stuff, and it just got me really depressed because, well, we all know it's all going downhill. But that's beside the point. So I started contemplating my 401k, and I started thinking about, man, there's going to be some deals coming up and some silver coming up towards, the holidays and stuff like that I'm probably going to want to pick up a tube of this and a tube of that. And well, I've got bills and a house payment and kids and a needy wife, a dog, car payment. Did I mention a needy wife? Well, yeah, she likes her purses. So needless to say, it's hard for me to save money when there's so much other purchases I need to make just to keep the family going forward. And it's not to say that I don't have the ability to save the money. It's more that at the time there's something better I can be spending that money on. Whether it be, an extra car payment or, to get out from underneath that debt or something along those lines. So I do find it occasionally difficult to save money when I need to, or sometimes there's a deal going on at Mex or Providence Metal that, the spot price per ounce is so low, and I just don't have, $500, $1,000 to throw down on, a great deal. So I really started thinking about my liquid cash and what do I need to keep on hand to be able to make these investments. And then I really started thinking about my 401k. And here's a little known fact. Most, not all, but most companies that offer some type of 401k or a match program or something along those lines where you're putting your money in every paycheck, they allow you to take a loan out against that, usually up to about 50% of your current invested 401k. And I'm not talking profit sharing here. I'm talking like a true traditional 401k. Yeah, you can borrow your own money. And it's kind of cool, actually, when I started doing the research on it today, because come to find out, it's actually really affordable. So I dug around and I thought, okay, is this worth doing? Is it worth taking money, a loan, if you will, out of my 401k to pay back at an interest rate and a fee to get the loan processed, if you will. So I started doing some looking, and I realized through my company that it actually makes total sense, because the interest that I pay on my loan, actually I'm paying myself. It goes right back into my 401k. The company that has my 401k, all they charge is a flat one-time $50 fee and an interest rate that I'm basically paying back to myself. Basically, they're getting more of my money each paycheck to invest as they see fit to make them money. So it's kind of a win-win for them also. But for me, it's kind of a win too, because I'm actually adding a little more to my 401k. So here's my example that I'm working with here. So I took out a $3,000 loan out of my 401k, and they charged me a flat fee of $50, and they charged me an interest rate of 2.99%. Not terrible, it's only $3,000. And I set it up to pay it back in 12 months, which is 28 paychecks. I get paid bi-weekly. And so my total amount borrowed was $3,050. And when I pay it back in 12 months, I'll have paid back $3,046.80. So the $50 isn't really gone. It just cost me $3.20 to take the loan out, if you will. The origination fees, as they call it, or whatever. And it's only roughly around like $120 every 2 weeks that comes out of my paycheck. Significant money, but it gave me access to my funds immediately, and allows me to pay back that $120 every paycheck instead of trying to save that $120 every paycheck. And I know, well, Midwest Stacker, you're so dumb. You said, don't buy silver on credit. It's just bad. I did say that in my past videos. And yes, it's true. If you're going to buy silver, on credit and you're not going to pay it off at the end of the month, you don't technically own that silver, so therefore that's a bad investment. But this is my money that I'm buying silver with. It's just being held by another company, so it's not really truly credit. It's more of a I'm borrowing from myself and paying myself back. I'm just getting the funds up front. It's costing me $50, but the interest I'm paying, it actually is only really costing me, out of my personal pocket, $3.20 to this company. So, yeah, you don't want to buy it on credit, but this isn't really credit. So you can take that with a grain of salt. You can say it is, but at the end of the day, it really is my money. So what does it matter? So I started thinking about this. I'm like, okay, if I do this, I need some very strict rules. I need to figure out. I like living by guidelines. I like living by rules that I set for myself, goals or achievements. And I said, okay, what if someone's going to do this, and let's say they have $10,000 in their 401k, and they take up to 50% out? Well, that could be a big chunk of change. And how do you know what you can afford and what you can't? So I came up with a set of rules, and I worked with an Excel and built an amortization table, and here's what my rules that I've came up with. And let me know if you think these are good, bad, or indifferent. So my rule number 1 is never borrow more than you can afford to pay back within 1 year. You don't want to take away food from your table. You don't want to strap yourself where you can't make your payments on your bills or that car payment or whatever you got. So you always want to borrow within your means. Even so it's your money, you have to pay it back. Rule number 2, the loan should never be longer than 12 months. And there's a couple reasons for this. One, longer loans mean that you can't repeat this cycle again in 12 months, or you stretch it out so far. You don't know what the future is going to hold. So you want to keep it within 12 months or less. If you can get away with 6 months, that's even better. The quicker you get it paid back, the quicker you can repeat this process and get more silver. Following along with rule number 2, for that 12 months, you want to make sure that you pay back the investment. You want to make sure that it's always something that you can, by all means, keep control of. You don't want to take out a loan and then take out another loan, and then take out another loan all on the top of each other. You got to make sure it's paid back within 12 months. Simple as that. So, rule number 3, make sure that the loan value versus the loan interest rate versus the loan origination paperwork makes sense. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you don't want to take out a loan out of your 401k for $500. That, with the origination fee of $50 for me and the interest at 2.99%, I would be basically paying the interest back of $7.80, meaning that I actually had to pay out of pocket $42.20. This isn't for that type of loan. This is where you want to get above the $1,500 mark is where I'm comfortable with the break-even point. The payments are low, and the interest that's charged back to me that goes back into my own personal account. It's my money. It's my interest I'm paying back to myself. Makes it about a 50% wash. So $25 is what I'm paying back at $1,500. So I just went with a $3,000. It almost breaks even, and I was pretty happy with that. So. Rule number 3 is make sure you do your investigation on what works the best for you on the dollar amount that you borrow with origination fees or interest. And also you want to do your homework too to make sure that interest gets paid back to you and not to the lender of your own money. That's pretty shady if you ask me, if they're going to charge you an interest percentage on your own money. You might as well just go to a bank at that point and get a personal line of credit. It's probably be cheaper, and you don't have to really worry too much about your own 401k at that point. So my rule number 4, if you're just finding out about this, like I said, do your homework. A lot of people would do something along these lines at 2.9% interest rate to pay off a high interest credit card. Well, when you do that, don't turn around and take that credit card and buy silver with it, because you're going against my other videos, my other advice saying you don't buy silver on credit. If you're using that money to pay off your credit card, obviously you can't make that full payment at the end of the month to pay it off. So you kind of want to be careful with that. But by all means, if you're going to use it to pay off that credit card, when you're done, cut that credit card up. It'll save you in the long run. And my rule number 5, always pay back the loan. Even if it's your money, and you don't want to get taxed at 40% by not paying back the loan. So what happens is, and even if you lose your job within 6 months, you have to work with your 401k, your financial advisor, to let them know you've lost your job and you planning on paying it back. You just need a couple months maybe to forego payments, and they'll work with you. They're not creditors. They're not, yeah, they're a bank, but they're not really creditors. They're not after you. They're not going to send you to debt collection if you don't pay your loan. They're just going to 1099 you, and they're going to pay 50% or 40% on that money you took out as bonus income at the end of the year. And Uncle Sam will come and collect. There's no getting around it. So, they're not going to hold your hand. They're not going to call you when you miss a payment. They're just going to just 1099 you and be done with it. So you always want to make sure that you pay back your loan, even if you lose jobs, change jobs, some circumstances changes. Always pay back your loan. And if you're switching jobs and you're rolling over your 401k, that loan more than likely will roll over with you. So real quick, let's take a look on how I figured out the best way to what I could afford, basically. And I built this little amortization table many years ago, and I still use it to this day to figure out loans, house payments, pretty much anything that I want to borrow. So, and this will be on my website to download. It's just an Excel document, nothing special about it. But I borrowed $3,000. My interest rate is 2.99%, and my period of loan is 1 year, and my number of payments is 26. So as you can see, it populates the full table, and it has all 26 payments listed right there, and it shows you. Okay, so let me get out my nifty pointing device here. So it shows you your first payment, total amount. Here's your payment per month. Here's how much goes into principal, how much goes to interest, and the leftover balance. You scroll up, I can show you those headers right there. So it breaks all the way down. There's all 26 payments, and you say, oh, well, 117, hell, I can afford that every 2 weeks for me, every bi-week paycheck. Maybe you get paid every week. So you can come back up here and you can go, oh, well, I get 52 paychecks a year, so 52. Oh, out of each paycheck, it's only $58. Well, maybe I can borrow a little more than that. I can swing, $4,000. I think 2.99% interest rate, 52 payments. It's just simple math. $78 a paycheck. So there's many things that you can do with this to help you figure out what kind of small loan you can take to turn around and better stack silver to buy that one-time big monster box, or, well, maybe not a monster box, but to buy that extra, tube or two one time a year or 3 times a year, pay off high-end credit cards. So, I did this video because I want to buy a large amount of silver coming up fairly soon. I want to purchase several different types of rounds, find one I really like, and then buy a couple tubes of those. And the only way I can justify doing this, is if I go up here and I borrow against myself $3,000 at 26 payments of $117 every 2 weeks. So I know this video is dragging on. I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to inform you guys in case you didn't know or didn't know you had this ability. Like I said, most companies will offer some type of loan. What you got to be careful of, though, is if that interest rate goes back to you, or does it go back to the loan originator? And it shows you right here, too. This is another great thing about this. Right here. I'm only paying $46.80. So even if that went back to the loan originator, plus my $50, it's only cost me $100 to borrow $3,000. Yeah, it's my own money. It kind of sucks. But, it's something that, if you want to buy that box of silver, you want to get, in the market a little more, or you want to, diversify your funds, this is a great way to do it. And it's an inexpensive way, and it's cash that you already own, readily available. You don't pay taxes on it unless you don't pay it back. And it's basically quote unquote free money. So with that, This is Midwest Thacker saying, see you when I see you. Laters.